Why high income doesn't make you rich. Meet two people. One earns $40,000 a year, the other earns $400,000 a year. 10 years from now, who do you think has more money? Obvious answer, right? The person earning 10 times more, except that's not how it usually plays out. In real life, the person earning $40,000 a year sometimes ends up with more net worth, more freedom, and less stress than the person earning 10 times as much. And the high earner is often one missed paycheck away from panic. And this isn't a rare story. It's one of the most common patterns in personal finance. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, actors, athletes, people who made incredible amounts of money and still ended up broke, in debt, or completely dependent on their next paycheck. So today we're going to answer a question that confuses almost everyone. Why doesn't a high income automatically make you rich? And more importantly, what actually does? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand something most people never figure out, even after decades of working hard for their money. The belief that tricks almost everyone. Here's the belief that quietly runs in the background of most people's minds. If I just made more money, I'd finally be financially fine. It feels true, it feels obvious, and it's the reason so many people chase raises, promotions, side hustles, and higher-paying jobs, believing that the moment their income crosses a certain number, their money problems will disappear. But here's the strange part. Ask anyone who's already crossed that number. Ask someone who doubled their salary. Most of them will tell you the same thing. The stress didn't disappear, it just changed shape. Why? Because income isn't the thing that makes you rich. Income is just the fuel. What you do with that fuel is what actually determines whether you build wealth or simply burn through more money at a higher level. This is the first mental shift you need to make. Being rich is not about how much money flows into your life. It's about how much of it you actually keep and what you do with what you keep. The hidden trap. Lifestyle creep. To understand why high earners often stay broke, we need to talk about something psychologists and financial experts call lifestyle creep. Here's how it works. Imagine you're used to living on $3,000 a month. You get a raise, and suddenly you're earning enough for $5,000 a month. What usually happens next? You don't keep living the same lifestyle and save the extra $2,000. Instead, your brain quietly starts justifying small upgrades, a nicer apartment, a newer car, more restaurant meals, slightly better vacations. Nothing feels extravagant in the moment. Each individual decision feels reasonable, but add them all together and something sneaky happens. Your expenses rise at almost the same speed as your income. You're making more, but you're also spending more. So the gap between what you earn and what you keep stays exactly the same, or sometimes gets worse. This is why someone earning $150,000 a year can feel just as financially stretched as someone earning $45,000 a year. Their number changed, their relationship with money didn't. And here's the psychological trick behind it. Humans don't evaluate money in absolute terms. We evaluate it in comparison to what we're used to. Behavioral economists call this concept hedonic adaptation. Once your income rises, your brain quickly adjusts to the new normal, and what used to feel like plenty suddenly feels like just enough or not enough at all. So the treadmill keeps moving. Earn more, spend more, feel the same amount of not rich enough. Repeat. Why the brain falls for this so easily? You might be thinking, okay, but surely once I earn enough, I'll be disciplined enough to save it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Discipline isn't really the deciding factor. Systems are. Our brains are wired to prioritize immediate rewards over long-term benefits. This is sometimes called present bias. A dinner tonight feels real. A retirement fund 30 years from now feels abstract and distant. So when extra income shows up, the brain naturally pulls us towards spending it on something that feels good right now, rather than locking it away for a future that doesn't feel emotionally urgent yet. This is why relying on willpower alone rarely works. Willpower fades. Temptation doesn't. The people who build wealth aren't superhuman at resisting desire. They've just built systems that remove the need for willpower in the first place, something we'll get into shortly. Income is not the same as wealth. Let's clear up one of the biggest confusions in personal finance. Income and wealth are two completely different things, but most people treat them as if they're the same. Income is the amount of money flowing into your life. Wealth is the amount of money you actually have accumulated and kept, usually in the form of savings, investments, or assets that grow over time. Here's a simple way to picture it. Imagine income as water flowing into a bucket. If the bucket has holes in it, water pours in, but it also pours right back out. No matter how strong the flow gets, the bucket never fills up. High spending habits are the holes in the bucket. Debt payments are holes in the bucket. Lifestyle upgrades that outpace your income are holes in the bucket. You can pour a massive amount of water into a bucket full of holes, and it will always look the same, nearly empty. This is exactly why a high-income earner with poor financial habits can end up with less real wealth than someone earning far less, but who patches their holes and lets water actually accumulate. Rich isn't about how much water flows in, it's about how much stays in the bucket. The real difference between rich people and wealthy people. Here's an idea that changes how most people see money once they understand it. There's a difference between looking rich and being wealthy. Looking rich usually means spending a large portion of your income on visible things: a nice car, designer clothes, a big house, fancy vacations posted online. These are outward signals of success, but they don't represent actual financial security. In fact, many of these purchases come from loans, credit, or income that gets consumed almost as fast as it arrives. Being wealthy looks completely different and often invisible. Wealthy people frequently drive normal cars, live in reasonably sized homes, and don't advertise their financial position. Instead, their money quietly works in the background, sitting in investments, growing assets, and passive income streams that don't require them to keep trading time for money. This is one of the most important psychological shifts in personal finance. Wealth isn't loud. It's usually silent, patient, and unseen until decades later, when it reveals itself as freedom, where real wealth actually comes from. So if income alone doesn't create wealth, what does? The answer comes down to one simple formula that almost nobody thinks about consciously, even though it controls their entire financial future. Wealth is built from the gap between what you earn and what you spend, multiplied by how wisely you invest that gap over time. Notice this formula has three parts, not one. First, the gap. This is the portion of your income you don't spend. It doesn't matter if your income is $40,000 or $400,000. If the gap is small, wealth grows slowly or not at all. Second, consistency. Wealth isn't created in a single dramatic moment. It's created through small, repeated decisions stacked over months and years. This is why average income earners with steady saving habits often build more wealth over a lifetime than high earners who save inconsistently. Third, growth. This is where investing enters the picture. Money that simply sits still loses value over time due to inflation. But money placed into investments, whether that's index funds, real estate, retirement accounts, or businesses, has the ability to grow on its own without requiring more of your time or effort. This is the real engine behind lasting wealth. Not the size of your paycheck, but the size of the gap you create and what that gap grows into over time. The psychological shift that changes everything. Now here's the insight that most people miss entirely. People don't build wealth because they suddenly get access to more money. They build wealth because they change how they think about money before it even arrives. Instead of asking, how can I earn more? The wealth-building mindset asks, how can I keep more of what I already earn and put it to work? This single shift changes financial behavior at a foundational level. Suddenly, a raise isn't an invitation to upgrade lifestyle. It's an opportunity to increase the size of the gap. Suddenly, spending isn't judged by, can I afford this, but by, does this align with the future I'm building? This doesn't mean living an extremely restrictive life or avoiding all enjoyment. It means being intentional. Enjoying some of your money today while consistently directing a portion toward your future self, the version of you who wants freedom, security, and choices later in life. What you should actually do differently. So how does this play out in real life? Start by automating your savings and investments the moment your income arrives, before your brain gets the chance to justify spending it. This removes the reliance on willpower and turns saving into a background system rather than a daily decision. Next, whenever your income increases, resist the urge to immediately expand your lifestyle to match it. Instead, let a portion of every raise go directly into savings or investments first. This is sometimes called paying your future self before your present self. Then focus on assets that grow over time rather than possessions that lose value. A car depreciates the moment you drive it off the lot. An index fund or a piece of real income-producing property tends to grow in value as decades pass. The wealthy don't just earn money, they own things that earn money for them. Finally, measure your financial progress not by your income, but by your net worth, the total value of what you own minus what you owe. This one number tells a far more accurate story about your financial life than any salary ever could. The real lesson behind it all. Here's the thought I want you to sit with. A high income can give you more options. It can make life more comfortable. But it will never automatically make you wealthy because wealth isn't a reflection of how much money touches your hands. It's a reflection of how much of it you keep and how wisely you put it to work. Two people can earn wildly different incomes and end up in the exact same financial position simply because one of them mastered the gap between earning and keeping and the other never did. So the next time you think, I just need to earn more money to fix my finances, pause for a moment, ask yourself a better question instead. If my income doubled tomorrow, would my wealth actually grow, or would my lifestyle simply grow to meet it? That answer says more about your financial future than any paycheck ever will.